Shopping for new fabric. Isn't that every quilter's dream of a perfect day? But how do you select fabrics for a modern quilt? Let's take a look at some popular modern fabric designers and see what sets their designs apart. Hi, I'm Andy, and this is True Blue Quilts, a place to enjoy, experiment, and excel as you quilt. Today, we're taking a look at some modern fabric designers with names that you may recognize. Sometimes this is a love or hate relationship. Either you like it or you don't, and that's fine. There is room in the quilting world for everyone's taste, whether it's more traditional, the Civil War reproductions, or calico prints from the 1930s, on into the modern bold designs. Let's take a look. The king of color and modern design is Kaffe Fassett. You can see his bold florals here as alternate squares in this 9-patch quilt. I think every quilt needs a little bit of Kaffe. Sometimes his colors are a little bit wild, but it just adds that spark of interest to your project. Kaffe Fassett is a designer for Free Spirit Fabrics, so look for his line at your local quilt store, or you can peruse all of his offerings at the Free Spirit website. You're sure to be inspired. And at your local bookstore, look for Kaffe Fassett's books, because those are an endless source of inspiration. He has done collections based on various locations around the world. You can take a peek at his studio and some of his other quilt designs that really showcase these bold graphic prints in all of their glory. Another modern quilt designer is Tula Pink. I was lucky enough to hear her speak in 2015, and you can see from this photo from her lecture that she was describing the design process for her line Elizabeth. It is amazing the amount of research she puts in and the different elements she puts into these quilts. You can see her style has kind of that really bold graphic look, but so much detail. And I was thrilled to see that her latest collection features Alice in Wonderland. So what a great reimagining of that classic story that we all love from our childhood. If you want to see more of Tula Pink and one of her collections from last year called Homemade, check out this unboxing video. You may be wondering how to use all of these big, bold prints from modern fabric designers. Well, I would suggest choosing a block that allows that print to really shine. So don't get too overwhelmed with including all of those big prints. Choose a few of them to highlight in your design, things like log cabin or square in a square, where you have that central focus, and then can bring in some blenders for the other pieces of the block. Speaking of blenders, if you like to work more with color rather than a specific image, such as we saw with Kaffe and Tula's designs, then I always turn to Allison Glass Fabrics. She has designed such a wonderful palette with these rich colors, and they come in the entire rainbow spectrum, so you can always find the perfect complement for your quilt. One of the features of modern quilts is the use of low volume prints, and that buzzword may be confusing if you've never heard it before. It's just a more generic term to refer to those neutrals, those light fabrics that quilters tend to use in the background. Allison Glass kind of reverses her fabric designs, and the same elements you see on her bold colors are translated into her lighter fabrics, which I think is really fun to use in your quilt blocks. One way that modern quilters change their designs to kind of be different than traditional quilters is by using a darker background. If you think of a lot of the more traditional quilts, you tend to have the bright colors on top of a light background, and reversing that can really change the feel of your quilt and just make it sparkle in a whole new way. Here you can see a modern sampler that I am working on where I am making two versions of every block. So you can really see how reversing the placement of those lights and darks in the same quilt pattern really makes a difference. So you get to pick and choose which fabrics you put in which position, and there are so many great fabrics to work with. I hope you've been inspired to incorporate some of the modern fabrics in your next quilt. If you'd like to see more tips on building a fabric palette for your next quilt, check out this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.